Okay, so now on the show, I want to take a look at a brand new movie that has just arrived on Netflix. Now, it's called Spiderhead, but I guess what most people are going to be attracted to this film for is the fact that it's from director Joseph Kosinski, who, of course, just gave us Top Gun Maverick, and it stars one of the biggest named actors on the planet at the moment, Chris Hemsworth, who, of course, is about to be rejuvenated once again as Thor in Thor Love and Thunder, which hits cinemas today as well. So it's a pretty interesting time for this film to come out. Like I said, it's come out at a time when the director is hot property because of the success that he's found with Top Gun Maverick, and features an actor that a lot of people are very curious to check out at the moment as well. Now, this is almost largely an Australian production. The film was shot here in Australia during the pandemic, and it's based on a short story by George Saunders called Escape from Spiderhead. Now, Spiderhead, the name of the film, actually comes from the fact that this film is set in a prison as such. It's set in a prison called Spiderhead. Now, this is a special kind of prison because this is a prison where a doctor called Abnesti, played by Chris Hemsworth, is allowed to do medical experiments with experimental drugs on prisoners, and in return, those prisoners get their sentence reduced. Now, one of those prisoners is Jeff, played by Miles Teller, who killed a friend in a drink-driving car accident. Now, he is one of the more tame prisoners that's in this prison. We see some pretty wild prisoners in this, and in return for them being willing participants in medical experiments, not only do they get a time off their sentence, but it's also a pretty relaxed kind of prison. People walk around, they read books, they kind of do as they like, they just can't leave kind of thing. Now, in his time in the prison, Jeff has developed feelings for Lizzie, played by Janae Smollett, another prisoner. Yes, it's a co-ed prison, I should point that out as well before you wonder, hang on a minute, why is there females in there? Yes, it is a co-ed prison. But the drugs that Amnesty is testing on Jeff at that time is a drug that changes people's desires. So even though Jeff is kind of devoted to Lizzie, he suddenly finds when he's on these drugs that he ends up having sex with people like Heather, played by Tess Hubrick, and others, because they lose all control of their body and they do whatever the drug is telling them to do. Now, it's through this that Jeff starts to question what kind of drugs are being used on them. And, of course, this turns into one of those situations where the whole question about what is Amnesty actually doing and who is he working for is raised. The film itself kind of has a bit of a feeling of El Machina, to be honest. It's even though it's a film that explores some pretty deep topics, a lot of this film and is set in a prison, a lot of this film is character driven and dialogue driven. There's some pretty intense scenes in this film, especially between Abnesti and his support worker Verlaine, played by Mark Paggio, which, funnily enough, is referred to as Mark throughout the entire film, so I'm not sure what's going on there with the character name. But look, the film does touch on some pretty important topics, and it's probably come out at a time when a lot of people are asking questions about medicine and how it's tested, and the effects of that medication if it's not tested properly. So the film does raise some moral dilemmas that are things that I found after I watched this I was talking to friends about. So I guess the film in that sense does work. I think the film could have gone deeper. There's I mean, this film, it's a psychological thriller, I guess, more than anything else, but there was times when you really felt like a scene could have gone deeper um, into what it was exploring. What keeps you watching this film is the acting performances of Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller, as you would expect from both of them. They're brilliant in this film. Miles Teller, again, puts in an absolutely stunning performance of a man that's being pushed to the limit. So I guess I would like to have seen this film explore these topics a little bit deeper and perhaps go a little bit darker. But having said that, it's still a worthwhile watch. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. Check it out. It's on Netflix now.